Okay, so today's topic is the #1 tools for curriculum transformation for 2020. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenny James. I'm a learning and teaching consultant at Griffith University in Griffith Sciences. The reason why I selected this topic is that in our roles as learning designers, we're often being asked to support the implementation of tools and technologies, and it seems to be rapidly increasing. Many of the tools that we're using are emerging technologies, and they're the ones implemented by academics and often without knowing whether that's the best tool for purpose. So today we've got 3 fabulous presenters presenting for us. Okay, so last but not least, our next presenter is Ailsa Dickie. Ailsa's eLearning Program Manager at UQ, and she's going to present for us today on Padlet. Thanks, Ailsa. Thanks, Ailsa.
All right, let's go. So I'm going to present on Padlet, and I think sort of tying with Sharon, Padlet's a very embedded tool at UQ, basically introduced about 2014, but used in lots of creative ways. And needing an active learning tool for online, a lot of staff have gone back to something, and very quickly in COVID-19, a lot of staff have gone back to some of the older tools that they feel really comfortable with and that are easy to use. Padlet is what I see as an entry-level tool, and it's one of the tools that got a lot of our staff actually started with active learning back in the day. So what is Padlet, if you're not familiar? Basically, it's a virtual wall and allows staff and students to collaborate online. So you can post notes and images and YouTube videos and links in a variety of formats. So, and it has lots of different formats. So you can have a wall, people can just post to Canvas, where you can do like mind sharing with putting arrows and move things around, a stream. You can have like a back channel, like a Twitter feed. You can have a grid. It has 2 new features, which is a map and a timeline, which staff have found very useful. And the map is basically a map, and I'll put a link up and show you in a minute. And with that, you've got a world map, and then you can post to somewhere on the world map. So you can do like your traditional icebreakers of, you know, where in the world do you come from, etc. So I've got a couple of icebreakers, Padlets for you to have a go at while we're doing this session. And I'm
going to post those links in chat.
Yeah,
so
yeah. If you post those in chat for me, and we'll have a look at them at the end. Yeah. I might just quickly show you the Q&A one, so what I'm doing actually makes sense. We'll just see if we go there. So basically just a Q&A, so if you put your post in, it's very straightforward. You just basically click on the button, put in a title. Often if we don't have it set up so the students have to actually log in, just tell them to put their name in it. And you can add different media resources, as you can see there. So I'll let you all have a sort of play with that and hopefully come back at the end and see what you've added in. In our team, we often think about tools as the long-term adoption, and I really think about the technology adoption life cycle. And basically in 2014, we started with the innovators, and I'll give an example of Chris Campbell, who was the original innovator at UQ. And you move through the visionaries, and with a lot of the tools, they never get past being used by the early adopters and the innovators. And what's really great about Padlet is it's really jumped the chasm, and it's got mainstream use. And also it's been a tool for those who are wary of active learning or not very confident with technology. This is the tool that got them started. And some of them moved on to some more sophisticated software long term. And where do I think we're at? We're probably into the late majority with this tool. We've been promoting it for a number of years, and I think the best thing I've had recently I said we did a video case study on Padlet. We normally do lots of video case studies and promote how different people are using the tool across the UQ. And someone said, well, why are you doing a video case study on Padlet? It's not very innovative. And they did a little happy dance and jumped around because, of course, that's the goal, to get the tool past being innovative and just part of the furniture. So where did it start? Basically, Dr. Chris Campbell was the innovator at UQ, and she's now at Griffith, so call out to her. And I actually was tutoring for her in 2014, and she put Padlet up on the wall, up on the screen, and put the link up and asked students a question. And, you know, the 200 students all started dumping their ideas on the Padlet, and she discussed a few of the ideas with the students. So she was very influential in promoting grassroots. And the other thing is there was no Padlet IT project at UQ. Padlet has just basically been grassroots, word of mouth, a bit of promotion, some workshops, people presenting at communities of practice. It's just grown by word of mouth. We had got a site license in 2018, and the site license cost us a whole $2,000 a year. Sorry, this isn't very good. This is the only copy I had, but this is one of the original sort of Padlets that Chris did and put up on the slide. It's on digital storytelling. She basically got students to put in their ideas in lecture theatre of how they could implement digital storytelling in their classes. So it was in education. I was tutoring into a course designed for secondary teachers and how they might adopt technology in their classrooms. Also, she made a lot of use of the sort of think, pair, share in the lectures, and the share part was they would share their group's response in Padlet. Dr. Norman Young has a very large health course. It's a multidiscipline course. It's a entry-level course in the health faculty for Health 1000, and has students from lots of different disciplinary areas, so dentistry, nursing, physiotherapy, etc. And he uses it to create an online community. And Norman will say, you know, he will use technology, but he doesn't like anything that's too complicated. And he's really done a lot with some simple uses of Padlet. So here's one example. This is basically sort of the collaborative board sort of format that he uses with Padlet. And this is sort of building a community. So yeah, posting information about the lots of different things that are going on, you know, in his course. And it's a lot more visual than the standard discussion board, etc. So that's one use that Norman makes of Padlet in his course. This is the other. They work in disciplinary groups and they share their responses to small group work, and as you can see, students all can put it up. It's not just text, it's visual. They can add in images, graphs, videos, etc. So you can use it as a collaborative tool. Preston Mee is from business. So as you can see, it's a wide range of staff. It's across lots of disciplinary areas. And when she started using it, it's about 5 years ago. She was brand new to lecturing. She was keen to do some active learning and wanted a simple tool. So she made a lot of use. The other thing we found with Padlet is when we started with Padlet, we had the simple polling tools and in-house polling tools, and a lot of the STEM courses were using polling for active learning, and some of the, you know, the more humanities courses said, well, that's not really relevant. I don't want to do polling type questions. I need free text response. And that's a niche that Padlet really filled. So one of the main ways she used it is just a simple lecture summary at the end. So she usually had 3 questions at her end of her lecture. to get students to reflect on their learning and what they've learned, and they all can post to those 3 questions at the end of the lecture as a summary and a discussion. Norca uses Padlet to facilitate small group discussions. So students take notes and post their thoughts and ideas. So she's using it in a language course. And she also uses it with students with presentations. And she's been using the comment feature, which is interesting, and the comments and the likes, etc. You can have ratings or likes, or I think she was using ratings for students to give feedback while they're giving a presentation. And that's always sort of the issue with group presentations. If one group's presenting, how do you get the rest of the cohort involved and engaged? So this is one example of how she's using it. She's got a planning and communication board. So students can post. She's got a Q&A board, so you can ask questions. And this is one of her presentations. So this is a poster presentation. All the groups put their posters up, they presented to them, and everyone could give a rate. The rest of the class could give ratings and ask questions and etc. and discuss the presentation. So engage while the presentation was on. Associate Professor Neal Pembroke, he teaches religion. So very interested in active learning tools, and he's done a lot in his school to promote the tool. And he uses it in his belief and unbelief course, and basically he uses it to facilitate Q&A questions. And he says it encourages students to ask those what they would consider dumb or stupid questions because it's more anonymous. Basically, they can do it in groups. They post the question as a group, and it really helps to sort out the misconceptions, the things that students are having trouble with, and they're not willing to sort of ask individually in the middle of class. He also says it's very efficient. You know, he's replaced, and we often say for Padlet it's basically a butcher's paper replacement. When staff ask me, how am I going to use Padlet? They say, what activities do you now do using butcher's paper? There we go. And I really like the example from Sebastian Come. It's politics. He teaches a course on war and peace, and he has done a really creative use of Padlet. He uses Padlet for students to crowdsource material. They do that individually, and then they re-engage in class. So if I just show you this example. So this is a couple of the screens from the students. So before class, students individually analyse an image from a pre-allocated newsletter and analyse the sort of themes. So as you can see, the students have posted images individually. They've done some analysis of it. They upload it to Padlet prior to the class. And then in the class, they actually engage with this basically data collection that they've done on the newspapers and on a particular day about the theme war and peace. They decide in groups what sort of questions do they want to ask and answer using this resource. And so it's very effective in that way. He says they're also very engaging. The students really like that they're using a resource that they have ownership, that they've created themselves. And I'll just show you a photo of the in-class. So this is in-class. This looks really strange now on COVID-19, doesn't it? We also found that a lot of staff are using this online. So, you know, activities that they can do, students can do asynchronous online, as well as using it in conjunction with, say, Zoom, to get students to engage online in Zoom sort of tutorials, etc. So I'm just going to go see how you went with the 2 Padlets I put up. Excellent. What we did set up, which we found really useful, is we were wanting to promote at the beginning of icebreakers, especially when a lot of our students were online. And so we put up an icebreaker sort of guide with some Padlets that people could then just copy and reuse with about 5 different ideas for holiday destinations. So when I went to choose one this morning, when I made this, I thought, I really want to go on a holiday and I can't go anywhere. So I thought you might be like that. And I'll just have a quick flip. Let's see where people want to go. So Japan, India, where's this one? French Polynesia, Chile. And often with this, what we do is, you see how it's coming up with anonymous. I normally put instructions for students to put their name. There's Sandra. Put their name as the heading. Well, she must have logged in. So this is a UQ Padlet. So she's logged in and her name's come up. We normally get them to put their names as part of the heading and also to put some images, etc. in. So if I go and have a look at this one, Sharon, getting any images here. I should have preloaded. And I'll just see what sort of Q&A questions. Wow, great. So this is basically what happens. People really get into it, add it in, etc. I don't know if I'm going to be able to search all the questions. Never heard of Padlet. That's really great. It's one of our favourite tools. Some examples. Featured co-worker. And I might just close that.
Okay, Ailsa. So we've run out of time. So we can quickly go through some of the questions. I think most of it was comments actually rather than questions. So thank you for everyone else who shared links to their Padlets. I've seen some uses of Padlet today that I haven't seen before, so it's really great, especially around what you were showing in terms of posters and peer review. So has anyone got any quick questions for Ailsa before we wrap it up? Okay. I wonder if anyone who posted links in the chat are happy for me to share those through the Moodle post or through our blog for other people to look at. If you're okay with that, just say yes in the chat. Otherwise, say no, and we won't include them. Thanks, Craig.
I'm just going to share a link to our guides. We've got some icebreaker ideas in there if you're interested in.
Oh, fabulous. Thanks, Ailsa. Awesome. So as we mentioned, the recording, the session's been recorded, so that will be uploaded soon to the TELedvisor Moodle site. If anyone's come in through here and aren't members of the TELedvisor group, I think Wendy posted a link in the chat. I don't know if you want to post that again, Wendy, just for anyone if they want to join. Otherwise, thanks everyone for turning up. I understand it's really busy times, challenging at the moment. So keep going and stay together as a community and keep safe. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks, Jenny.